Hey everybody, I'm Christian. Oh wait, let's try that again. Today we're going to be building a PC. A PC stands for personal computer. And okay. We've got a nice looking tower, and that's a... Hey everybody, we're going to build a PC. It's going to be using Linux instead of Windows so that we can build our game on Linux so it can release simultaneously. So we're going to be installing Ubuntu, and this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Ninjas at Noon. Hey everybody, I'm Christian, and you're watching Ninjas at Noon. Today we're going to be building a PC. It's going to be a Linux build. We're actually going to be putting Ubuntu on here, and the primary purpose for building this PC is going to be the development of our game project called Swordslinger. We're going to be testing and compiling the project and engine from source code, that is Unreal Engine, on this computer, and we'll be using Vulkan instead of DirectX or OpenGL. This way we can launch our Swordslinger game on Windows and Linux simultaneously, and that'll be available through Steam and Good Old Games. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and start unboxing some of these hardware components here. We've got a lot of great system specs, but we do have kind of a wish list going for some upgrades that we would like to make in the future if we're able to secure some sponsorship for those for the game specifically. We're using the Blue Yeti. And it's not actually blue, it's black, but that's okay. So this is the Blue Yeti microphone. We're using the Lumix FZ300 digital SLR camera, and we're going to be building a computer. It's going to have Linux on it. We're going to be using a Corsair Carbide Series 270R windowed ATX mid tower. And we will be installing the also a Corsair 1200 watt platinum certified power supply unit. It's a lot of power, but that's because we're planning on upgrading. So we needed that extra power. We also have another component which will eventually be upgraded. This is a GeForce GTX 1050 made by Gigabit. Now we're definitely going to be upgrading this to the RTX in the coming months. And again, one more component, another component that we'll be upgrading is this Core i5. We're hoping to get some sponsorship for an Intel Xeon processor, since we will be compiling our game project, compiling the engine from source code, as well as compiling the project, baking lighting, and publishing runtime builds, all of which require an extremely high processor speed. So we hope that this will be okay. And let's see, we've got the ETS T40. Probably need to upgrade this as well. It's just a kind of a standard run-of-the-mill CPU fan, CPU heatsink rather. So here we have the Samsung 970 EVO M.2 drive. It's a solid state, very fast hard drive. It's going to be currently the only hard drive we put in this machine, but it will suffice for the purposes of this build, which is actually to compile and test our video game project on Linux using the Vulkan API. So that's what we're going for with this 970 EVO. We want it to be lightning fast so we can have short compile times and build times, as well as baking lighting and whatnot. And in case you're wondering about the camera that we're using to record this awesome 4K footage, it is the Panasonic Lumix FZ300 4K long zoom digital camera. So I found it does the 4K resolution, 3840 pixels by 2160 at 30 frames per second. So no 60 frames per second, but that's okay. And again, once again, we do have the Blue Yeti. Here's some of the specifications for that, and here's a nice little shot of it. And even this one's not blue. So I don't know where they came up with that, but this is the Blue Yeti. Comes in silver or black. Maybe an inside joke for somebody. Here's kind of our wish list here. Eventually, if we can get some sponsorship here, we are trying to raise funding to upgrade this machine to replace the 1050 that we're putting in there. We want to put in the GeForce RTX 2080. We'd like to put 3 of them in here in SLI mode if possible, so we can really crank this machine and optimize the game for SLI, get some good testing on that. Here is the RAM that we would like to upgrade to. It is G.Skill Trident Z. Clock speed is 4133 megahertz, and we want to put 4 16 gigabyte sticks in there. So that's our RAM wish list right here. And finally, we have the Intel Core i9 7980 Extreme Edition. That would give us some really great processing power. I don't think we need to go with the Xeon. I think this Core i9 would be just about perfect for this video game developer workstation build. Okay, so here we have the specification sheet for the EVGA Z370 FTW motherboard. Now this motherboard is going to be compatible with the new GeForce RTX 2080 graphics cards, which is it's a primary concern for us. We did have to find some compatible RAM and a PSU that will work with the case, but this is the motherboard that we are using. Here's kind of a little preview of it here. And so we're going to go ahead and see what we can cram into this case. Hopefully we have clearance for everything, and we're just going to give this a shot here. But we did make sure that the processor we're putting in here is a 1151 socket Intel i5, and we do have some DDR4 RAM. We're not taking advantage of this maximum ludicrous speed of 4133 megahertz, but we'll just be putting some RAM in here temporarily until we can get some upgrades there. And just a GeForce GTX 1050 video card for now, but this does say that we could operate a couple of two-way SLI here, so ultimately the goal would be to put a couple of RTX 2080s in there. So we're going to go ahead and get started now, and this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Ninjas at Noon. Let's get started unboxing some of these awesome components. All right, here we go.